Hello folks, my name is Mark, this is Why I Hate the World, how you guys doing? So, what the hell is going on with GameStop and their stock right now? I'm sure you've heard about it online and on the news and things like that. It's driving, the stock is going crazy, it's driving some hedge funds out of business, and a lot of people in financial, markets and things are like starting to panic a little bit, right? And what the hell's going on? Well, it has to do with what's called short selling of stock, right? And what is short selling? Well, like everything that has to do with the stock market, it's weird and complicated and obtuse, and it's kind of like that on purpose in order to keep the normies out, right? But basically, it's something like this. So what it is that when you think there's a company that you think the stock is going to go down, you have the option to do a short sale. And what that is that you borrow the stock, right, at a certain price. And then when it goes down to a certain price, you sell it, right, back to and then you get to keep that difference, right? So the problem is that if it goes up, then you have to pay for that amount that it goes up to. So this is an instrument, a financial instrument, where you can profit from the value of a company decreasing, which is kind of bullshit, but we'll get into that a little bit later. So what happened is that there were a couple of hedge funds that looked at GameStop. One particular was called Melvin Capital Management, and they did a lot of these short sales on the stock there, right? And the thing is that these can compound in such a way to where eventually there's more short sales on stock than there are actual stock issued by the company, right? Which sounds kind of weird, but the way it works is that the company issues, let's say, 50 shares of stock, and then company A wants to do a short sale, so they borrow that stock, right? And then another institution, like a bank, an investment bank, or a hedge fund or something, borrows it from that company, and they do their own short sale, right? And then so on and so on and so on. And it just so happened that for GameStop, that came to about 130% of the actual stock that was issued by the company, right? So we're talking, millions upon billions of dollars. Right, and this is what hedge funds do. This is how they make money. They do stuff like this and, manipulate the market is what it kind of sounds like, right? Because that's exactly what it is. So anyway, there's a subreddit called Wall Street Bets, right? And they looked at GameStop, and actually a guy did a write-up on Wall Street Bets. And, they decided that the stock is undervalued, and it was hanging out at around $4 or $5. This is, January of 2019, right? And they decided that it would be a good company to buy into, and plus, there's 2 million people that subscribe to this subreddit, so all these people started buying stock for, GameStop, right? Over the course of last year, the entire year, people buying stock, right? For a whole year, that comes to hundreds of thousands and millions of shares, right? And so all of these hedge funds and banks and other institutions that had short sales on it, this drove the stock up, and they couldn't then sell their shares because they would lose money. So they had to hang on to them, right? Well, if they don't sell them, right, then they have to pay interest the longer they hang on to it, right? So they're losing money as each day went on, right? And this kind of came to a head because this, as the people on Reddit kept buying, it kept driving it up. These other, these hedge funds would either have to sell and cut their losses and lose tons of money, or just hang on to it in the hope that it would go down and then also pay interest and lose money, right? And eventually it got all the way to the point where it started, the stock price was at $5. And then as of 2 days ago, it hit 360. Right, which is an increase of a bajillion percent right there. And some people on Reddit made a lot of money, right? I wish I would have known about this shit. I would have fucking invested. But anyway, what are you going to do, right? So, but what ends up happening here is that, well, now all of those mutual funds and hedge funds and, investment banks, things like, not mutual funds, but hedge funds, investment banks, things like that, all of those institutions have lost a shitload of money, right? And what this will end up, what they're trying to basically do, the Reddit people are trying to do, is they're trying to get it to hit what they call a squeeze, right? And well, what does that mean? That means when all of the float stocks, right, there's no more of them. So float stocks are all the stocks that are actually currently out there being traded, right? Liquidity in the market is what they call that. Well, when all of that's gone, when there's no more liquidity, there's no more stocks to buy, right? These hedge funds then need to buy stocks in order to cover their short sales. So then they will have to buy, in order to meet the obligations, right, that they took with these short sales, they have to buy the stocks no matter what. So then the price will shoot way, way up, right? So right now it's at, I think that as high as it got is like as high as like 489 or something today, right? Today is the, as I'm making this video, today's the 28th, right? It hit like $489 or some shit, and it was going up and up higher and higher. And this was causing all of these mutual funds to like lose billions and billions of dollars. And so you're seeing people panic and, go on the internet and go on TV, like on MSNBC and shit like that, and start losing their minds. And, and what's funny is that you're starting to see, these hedge fund bankers, begging for regulations. And last I heard, there's actually a bill going through the House right now, right? A bill going through the House to stop this kind of thing. So what happened, right? Today, right, on the 28th, it opened, and it got all the way up to like 489, something like that. And then they just stopped trading, and the main app that all of the Redditors used was Robinhood, right? And Robinhood decided, well, you know what, no more GameStop. You can't buy it anymore. So a lot of people on Reddit went on to go buy some more stock because, they were finally making some money and sticking it to the man at the same time, just to find out that they couldn't buy anymore, right? And what that did is that caused the stock to go down a little bit, right? Because it was starting to hit that boiling point. It was hitting that, hitting that squeeze point, right? And which it would just shot way the hell up. And who knows how high it would go. I mean, would it go to $1,000? Probably not. But the last time this happened was actually with Volkswagen, about a decade ago or so, right? And it, Volkswagen stock went from like $50 to like 900, in one of these same type of deals, right? And this is what could have happened, right? And all the people on Reddit would have made a shitload of money, and all of these hedge funds would have gone out of business at that point. They would have been forced to buy at that price, right? And, we'd see them all go belly up, right? So yeah, they basically got their friends on Robinhood, and not just Robinhood, but a couple of other apps, right, to just stop selling, which is kind of fucking ridiculous, if you think about it, because this is the kind of shit that, stockbrokers and hedge fund managers and, investment bankers and shit, this is how they make their money, manipulating the market like this, right? And then all of a sudden, some people on Reddit, some normal, ordinary people with 9-to-5 jobs, figure out how the system works. All of a sudden, they shut them out. And it's kind of bullshit, and it kind of shows like the need for regulations right now. And that's the shitty thing about this, is because it sounds like that would be illegal, wouldn't it? I mean, you shouldn't be able to just decide, okay, if it's a free market, you shouldn't be able to just be like, okay, you people over here, you can't buy that anymore. All the the investment bankers and the hedge fund people and all of those assholes were able to buy and sell all they fucking wanted today. But normal, ordinary people, they call them retail investors. If you're just a normal person, you're a retail investor, right? Fuck all those people. Yeah, get out of here. We don't care about you. That doesn't sound right. It doesn't sound like a very, very much like a free market, doesn't it? And some people should go to prison for that shit, right? And it just so happens that the company that runs Robinhood seems to be, owned by one of the companies that is, invested in Melvin Capital Management. Last I heard, I don't know. That could be hearsay, right? But I've already seen things on Reddit about lawsuits and shit like that. So who knows? Who knows what's gonna happen? There's gonna have to be an investigation, right? Because it doesn't sound like it would be legal. But here's the thing about that, right? There pretty much is very little regulation when it comes to this kind of thing, And this is specifically done on purpose, thanks to the Republicans, right? If you have a problem with that, talk to the Republicans in the House and the Senate. They're the ones who made it that way. They're the ones who nerfed the regulation that's there. and have refused to fill the empty vacancies for, for different, regulators in the government that would take care of this kind of thing. They're basically running on skeleton crews now, thanks to the Trump administration. I mean, remember, like, Joe Biden's only been president for less than a week here. So it's like they haven't, that was one thing that the Trump people did, was that somebody would, get fired or retire, in a position as a regulator somewhere, like, say, in the FCC, something like that, right? And they would just not hire another person there. And then that position would just go open. And they just wouldn't hire people. And that's a way that they could cut regulations without actually cutting regulations, right? Without actually doing it on paper, right? They could just not hire another guy. So that forces the staff that's there to work harder, and they cannot cover everything that they need to cover. So what's going to happen here? Probably nothing. That's the really shitty part. They're probably going to get away with it. And they probably just, so they just showed, like, the rich people, the billionaires, just basically, said, okay, enough with you fucking peons. You're playing in the big boy pool. Get the fuck out of here. It's going to happen again tomorrow. That's what's going to happen. Tomorrow, they're going to open, the stock's going to go up. They're just going to stop trading. The exact same shit's going to happen until the stock goes down to a certain price where they can, like, sell their fucking thing. Unless somebody steps in. Unless someone in Congress or whatever, or, someone that's in in the Fed decides to step in and prevent that from happening. That's my prediction. I don't know. So it's kind of fucked up, and it really does show that, it really isn't a free market, right? Even, because that's the thing you always hear from Republicans and shit like that. Oh, a free market's good, and if we got rid of these regulations, everybody would be on equal ground. And this just demonstrates to you right here that there is no such thing as a free market. The people in power are always going to use their power to their own ends. Right. And if it looks like you start to encroach a little bit on that money and power, they're going to use their power to squash you. And that's exactly what happened here. And for the people on Reddit, for their part, they're sticking with it, because what this was designed to do here, this was designed to push the stock down, freak everybody out, and then they would just panic sell. Right. And then that would, but the people on Reddit are saying, don't sell it, hold. That's what they say, you hold the stock, hold it until it goes back up, because eventually they're going to have to allow them to start buying it again. And so they're going to start buying it again, right? So they're fighting back, and, more power to them. I hope they do it. I hope they cripple these fucking people, because, these people, they don't really contribute very much to our society. They kind of, hedge fund people, shit like that, not really, they kind of extract wealth, right? And this is the kind of shit that, tanked the economy in 2008. The subprime mortgage crisis, right? Exact same kind of market manipulation. We could go into that, and you notice that no one ever really got held accountable for that then. It's like we can't really rely on the government to do something about it, because they're too entrenched, right? The people with the money are too entrenched. And, they're the ones that are paying for all of the candidates to get elected. And this is Republicans and Democrats, but, especially Republicans, right? So, good. I hope that I hope Reddit, I hope all you guys stick with it. Hold until it gets to that price that you want, and then sell it. Make out, because fuck these people. That's why. And, if anybody else out there, if you choose to invest, just keep this in mind, right? This kind of shows you how much the fucking deck is stacked against you. So anyway, it's fucking crazy, folks. Everybody's insane. That's all I got. Adios.